Hi everyone, this is the second video for lecture 3. In the previous video, we learned the basics of organizational structure. Now we move to the modern world of organizational structure. And first, we'll address how to allocate works, division of labor. Many scholars identify division of labor as a key to success of organizations. It's comprised of two basic steps. First, we need to prescribe what someone is to do. The roles of workers can be defined by multiple forms of prescription, such as job descriptions, routines, or rules. But it should be noted that there are pros and cons at strict division of labor. Higher degrees of constraints on workers' role will lead to predictability and uniformity. Workers can clearly understand what their goal is and concentrate on achieving their specific task. On one hand, too much constraints on workers' role might lead to apathy, absenteeism, and resistance. Once an organization sets positions or roles, managers will face another key decision: how to group people into working units. Here I just listed basic options for working units: knowledge or skills, time or shift, product, consumers, place or geography, process. Taylor and Gurlick, advocates of scientific management, emphasize the importance of specification, step 1, and span of control, step 2. Because they believe that the same as pure science such as physics, there is a best unit of working for a specific task. Howard Simon, however, challenged the notion of scientific management. This graph shows the principle of specialization in scientific management. Too much specialization will lead to workers' apathy or resistance. However, at a certain point, specialization can maximize productivity. But Simon pointed out this best principle of specialization cannot be fully identified, since any role or position in a work can be specialized by too many dimensions, such as functions, skills, customers, or place. Since human beings' rationality is limited, we cannot recognize this best point for maximizing profits. Further, he argues that specialization also counters the principle of unity. According to scientific management, specialization can increase predictability and uniformity in the workplace. Yes, it is sure that subordinates and superior within one specialized unit will share what they are doing. On the other hand, higher levels of managers cannot fully understand what these units are doing. Therefore, specialization will weaken the unity of command. Furthermore, Simon identified the dilemma between the principles of span of control and unity of command. For instance, in an organization, working unit will be comprised of 4 members, including 1 manager. In such narrow span of control, each unit can enhance teamwork. On the other hand, such narrow span of control will require many layers of the organization. On one hand, broader span of control, let's say span of 8, will require less layers. However, when focusing on each unit, the unity of command in span of 8 will be weaker than that of span of 4. In sum, Simon argues that we cannot have the best principle of specialization and span of control. In any way, organization will be complex. So to keep the unity of command, we need a coordination. From this slide, we'll address the second key question of structure: how to coordinate diverse efforts towards a common goal. There are two types of coordination: vertical and lateral. Vertical coordination means top-down management. Specifically, specialized units might conflict each other because they have different specialized goals in each unit. Executives or higher levels managers will be charged with keeping their actions with the common organizational goals. Also, such conflict can be solved based on rules or policy of the organization. These two types of coordination are the most traditional ones. On one hand, planning and control systems is a relatively new form of coordination. Mintzberg identified two main types of planning and control systems: performance control and action planning. Performance control imposes concrete goals such as 10% sales increase, and action planning specifies methods or time frames for achieving that goal. We'll learn the details of action planning as strategic planning in Lecture 6, and we'll learn the details of performance management in Lecture 7. While vertical coordination is top-down management, lateral or horizontal coordination is more decentralized and interactive coordination. For instance, meeting is the most traditional way of lateral coordination. Task forces are a group project beyond section or divisions. Also, an organization might hire specialists for harmonizing its diverse efforts. Matrix structure is a little bit difficult to explain only in words, so let's see the next page. Here I will explain matrix structure with the example of research university. Matrix structure creates dual lines of authority. Programs such as undergraduate, master's, or PhD, and academic departments, accounting, finance, or marketing. And further combines these working units for the common goals. For instance, this research university might aim to enhance professional education, masters. However, they found that master students have difficulty to understand accounting, finance, and quantitative methods. It's clear that they have low levels of mathematical skills, so these three departments might work with each other to develop math camp during the summer. Go back to this slide. Recent studies of public administration focus on horizontal coordination, especially networks. However, empirical evidence shows that effective coordination requires both vertical and lateral procedures. Finally, we came to the last and most important question of organizational structure for us. Do public organizations have distinctive structural characteristics? Economist Anthony Downs argues that government bureaucracy inevitably moves toward more hierarchy. However, recent studies show that other factors such as size, environment, technology have more impact on organizational structure than public or private status. For instance, beyond public-private distinction, larger size and older age of organization will lead to higher degrees of formality and complexity. Also, the final product of organization will determine the organizational structure. The recent hot topic of organizational structure is information technology. IT leads to flatter, more flexible, and more decentralized structure of organizations. In addition, like Google or Apple, more educated and professional workers want greater autonomy and discretion. Finally, let me add one more important factor to determine the organization structure: transaction cost. Transaction cost is non-monetary cost of making economic exchanges. For instance, cost of finding suppliers, or cost of bargaining, negotiation, and monitoring. Ronald Coase firstly presented this concept. He argues that due to imperfect information in the market, people need to pay expensive transaction costs of finding good suppliers. Since we cannot really know quality of many products, we cannot judge which supplier is good. And then, people start to organize that production in their organization, such as family, community, or firms. Actually, Ronald Coase receives the Nobel Prize of Economics because of this theoretical contribution. This transaction cost theory has been recognized as the main reason why organizations are created instead of individual suppliers. Further, Williamson developed this transaction cost theory, especially cost of delegation, to explain the limit on the size of organization. As the size of organization increases, its hierarchical bureaucracy also increases. In the nature of a large firm, its existence is more secure and less dependent on each individual worker. And such secured and less responsible position will increase the incentive of individual workers to being lazy or shirk. And then, such incentive of being lazy will encourage workers to provide false information about their action or performance. Finally, managers will face high transaction costs to find real information. In sum, if this organization finds this high transaction cost of communication inefficient, they will stop expanding the size. Thank you for listening. This is the end of the lecture. I understand the last concept of transaction cost is really difficult, but this is a cutting edge of organizational structure. I personally believe that this will be very helpful for future public administrators. You can find some references you can find in the textbook here. Bye. See you in the next lecture.